I'll just say really quick, I'll talk about this. So Ryan's question too is like, all right, how do you change? Right? So now you understand the value piece and you understand, hey, look, my life's driven by values. Am I driven by comfort? Or, there's a million different ones. It all comes really from our growing up. But there's one thing that drives all of this. What do you think it is? Yeah, obviously our brain with it too, right? So like, there's one key thing that has to drive change. Awareness. Why? Right? So you have to be willing to be aware, number one. Right? You can't change what you don't see. Awareness is noticing your patterns, your thoughts and emotions and behaviors that keep recreating the same outcome for you. I'll say it again. Awareness is noticing your patterns, thoughts, emotions, behaviors that keep recreating the same outcomes for you. And so that's the key part of everything. So if I do the same thing over and over and over, right? It's stepping out of the autopilot and observing why you do what you do without judgment. Awareness brings light to the unconscious. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it'll direct your life and it'll create what we call fate. Very, very important way to look at that. And so like same thing, why do I snack over and over and over? Am I thinking about snacking, Lucas? Most time you snack, you think about snacking? Oh, no. Just what? Autopilot, right? Autopilot. Stuff's there, autopilot. And what happens is as I do that, it becomes what? A pattern. And all of our life is driven by patterns. The way you look at your phone, if you notice you try to get off social media, what do? But if I want to get off social media, I don't want to do pattern. What do I want to do? I notice when I stack in the mornings, I'll be stacking, it's 5 a.m. And what do you think I want to do? Pick up my phone. Pick up my phone. Why? Because it becomes a pattern. And so we aren't aware of that in many cases. And so until I find this thing what? Of awareness, right? That's step number one. Number two, what do you think number two is? Find some good colors here. Number two is acceptance. Acceptance. What do you think that means in this context? Acceptance.
Something that you need to change?
Yeah, once you see it, you have to accept it, right? Meaning, I'm snacking over and over and over. I know this is happening. It's a reality. Most people try to ignore it and say, well, it's not really that big a deal, right? I'm okay with that. I can get rid of I can have this, you start looking at, once you start measuring calories in your life, you realize, holy shit. Like, I never forget, we had these little Costco, like, healthy, organic things like this big. I had a couple, I was like, man, this is pretty good, I'm good. I'm under my calories for the day. I did my scanning app, 120 calories each one. I'm like, holy shit, that's like a whole thing of yogurt. You know what I mean? I can get way more better calories somewhere else, but you don't realize until you start measuring it, but it all adds up. Here's the deal. Once you see, you have to accept it. Acceptance isn't approval, it's ownership. You say that again. Acceptance isn't approval, it's ownership, right? It's me saying, this is where I am, without blame, without shame, without denial. Why? This is me shining the light on it. Say, okay, this pattern, this thing, this value I'm having, Ryan, is getting me the result or lack thereof that I currently have, right? So my value, most people value comfort over results. That's it. For most people, they'll do just enough to be comfortable, right? They'll make dials when they have to. It's one of those things that makes a big difference. And so that's the key part there. Without acceptance, you'll stay trapped in resistance, and resistance keeps you stuck in the same patterns you've been trying to escape for years. That's the key part. Number three, change color. Just the last part. Yeah, without acceptance, you stay trapped in resistance. And resistance keeps you stuck in the same patterns you've been trying to escape for years. And so I got to say, I got a problem, right? Whatever it is. I've done it before with alcohol, right? During the week, patterns. Now I just got to get Saturday. And I stacked out this week. Hey, what do I do with alcohol? That's my next phase that I get to. Is like, where Blake doesn't even drink on Saturday. For now, it's like my day, my escape. But like, that's the key thing of like, all right, acceptance. Hey, look, here's what it is. Number three, responsibility. This is where you take back your power. The third phase here is responsibility. What do you think this means in this context? Responsibility. Yeah, it means you recognize that you are both the problem and the solution. I am the problem and the solution, right? If I don't own it, I can't change it. So I'm the problem. I'm also the solution. If I blame my parents or my upbringing or the government or anything else, what happens? I can't control it, right? It's the moment you stop waiting for external circumstances to change and you decide to take action aligned with who you want to be, not who you've been. Say it again. It's the moment you stop waiting for external circumstances to change, you decide to take action in line with who you want to be and not who you've been, which is important. Oh, there's a black one. Fourth one here is what we call repattern. Or recondition. So, perfect example of this, Lucas. So I used to have a pattern where I'd snack too a lot. I didn't really notice it, man. We had like this pepperonis, all kind of stuff, and I just snack when I felt like it, right? And there's a pattern. And so I do it when I got home. I'll do it when I got home for lunch, before lunch. And so as I got the trainer and we started mapping my food and doing it, what do you think I did? I planned my snack out. So now I have 2 snacks a day. I get a banana at 10 o'clock, and at 4 o'clock, what do I get, Ryan? Yogurt. And I also get one more at home, which is a cake with peanut butter on it. Planned out. Identified. So now what I do? Create a new pattern. And I like it. It's good. I look forward to it now. So now I don't feel guilty when I do it. Why? Because I earned that right. I waited till it, and boom, I'm able to do the one. I repatterned it in what I did. But it took me taking the old pattern. And so a lot of people try to just eliminate stuff. You got to feel the pattern with something. And so that's why I plan it out. Now, something that serves me and serves the value of who I want to be, and obviously 20 plus pounds later, it makes a big difference. You know what I mean? So that's a key part there of what that is. 30 pounds almost, right? Was it 208 to 178? Yeah, 30 pounds, right? So that's a big difference there, what that is, right? This is where the real change happens. You build new emotional and behavioral patterns through conscious repetition, new habits, new language, and new environments. That's going to be a video I was going to do next week, is that you can't outwill your environment. Remember, right? No matter what, that's why working at home is not good, right? I was going to do a video sending out to agents that your home office is keeping you broke. Why? Because a pattern doesn't serve you. You're alone. You can hide, right? You can't get the stuff you've done. That's why here, around people are dialing, I'm more likely to dial. Just like around healthy people, I'm going to tend to be more healthy. Does it make sense? Why? Because I feel out of place for not doing it. So that's a key part there. But here's the crazy part. This stage is uncomfortable. Why? It requires rewiring how you think, how you respond, how you show up. You must rewire. And for me, the same thing I did my snack. Hey, look, I still get snacks. I look forward to my snacks, but now they're healthy, now they serve me. And guess what? The macros are dialed in with the right protein. So the protein yogurt I get 15 grams of protein, which adds right to my daily total. Everything's lined up, and now, boom, I get what I want, and I don't feel hungry. Make sense? And so that's the key part with that. And now I don't snack in between because I know what I got coming up. My schedule one, right? Which is important to do there overall. And so this, again, stage is very uncomfortable. Consistency here is the bridge between awareness and transformation. I'll say it again. Consistency is the bridge between awareness and transformation. So most people will do a new pattern, but what happens? They slip right back to where they were. And so I have to be consistent. It'd be my dials, my schedule, my huddle attendance, whatever it is, my wake up schedule. But like same thing, you're getting up going to the gym, right? It sucked in the beginning, but now what happened? It's a new pattern, right? It's pretty natural. Not easy, but natural and unnatural. If you didn't come one day, what would happen? You feel bad about it, which means you've done what? Reprogram your brain, which is a big way to look at it. And so that's the key part here overall. Number 5, the last one, this is where it starts to get really good, is number 5 is called integration. What does that mean?
Becomes natural.
It becomes your identity. This becomes my identity. I'll write ID for that. So this is the part where it becomes my identity and who I am. It changes. The change becomes my identity. You're no longer trying to change. The new behavior is who you are. So now if I look at a snack, what do you think? I'm like, that's disgusting, right? I don't mess with that. Last night we were walking the mall, get my steps in with Kaylee and the babies. She was like, man, I really want the pretzel place called? Andy Ann's. I'm like, she said, with some cheese. I'm like, that's disgusting, right? I wouldn't mess with that. Why? Because I got results. Here I am getting my steps in. I already got my snack in. I got my steak and potatoes coming up in 30 minutes, right? It's planned out. There's no doubt in my mind that I want any of that stuff. Why? Because it's my identity now. That who I am now would never eat that shit. Does that make sense? Like I would never eat the fast food now because my identity doesn't allow me to do so. That's become a transformation in terms of who I am, right? And it's integrated into who I am as a human now. Does that make sense? Before, I let myself off the hook because it wasn't clear what my identity was. Most people are just driving by reactionary and what their time is. Most people get fast food. What do they say the reason to get fast food is? I don't have time. Which is what? Bullshit, right? If you did it right, you could plan your meal out and you could have had a meal done in the microwave in 30 seconds. Takes me really a minute and a half to cook my meals at lunch. Not all day long, right? But that comes from doing what? Planning and have your identity in terms of who you are, which makes a big difference in that part. And so that's the key part. Integrations, when awareness, responsibility, and repetition merge into automatic alignment. It becomes automatic. You start naturally responding from a higher level of consciousness rather than reacting from old wounds. I'll say it again. This is powerful. You start naturally responding from a higher level of consciousness rather than reacting from old wounds. Most people never change because they want comfort more than clarity. Ooh, that's a good one. Most people never change because they want comfort more than clarity. Why? Well, awareness destroys comfort, and that's exactly what sets you free. Say it again. Awareness destroys comfort, and that's exactly what sets you free. And here's the secret, though. If you stay conscious through the discomfort, you'll become unrecognizable in the best possible way. What does that mean, you think?
You're not going to lose track of your ability to rewind.
Yeah, and so this goes back to what I was talking about, Ryan. So how do I get through this? Like, what's the way to get back through this? I'm going to link the pieces together for you, hopefully. What helps me get through the hard part right here? No, not, I mean, in the beginning, yes, a little bit. I have to have clear what? Values. So the values of the man in your situation, right? Or the woman who somebody wants to be is what helps drive this here. But here's a problem. I got to get clear what my values need to be on who this person is, what they do. So you were even talking about before, part of your value driving you now is what? In the working out stuff. Yeah, but what do you truly want deeper than that? You said it to me before. You're going to be the best possible shape of your life for your son. So is that motivating? Right? And so when I have a clear value, we said it multiple times to me on the treadmill before, I have a clear value, that drives me. And so when I don't feel like it, what do I think about? My son. Right? And so that pushes me through here because I've anchored it to something that now becomes a standard, not a feeling. You can't feel the standard for your son, but you can know what it is, which drives you through the feeling. Does that make sense? Standards make everything much easier to make decisions on versus feeling. So if I just go to the gym when I feel like it, I'm not going to show up. But now if I drive it based on a value, which is also a standard of I'm not going to let my son down and be who the best version for him, now it becomes easy and drives the decisions easier. This is true for your phone calls, for your relationship, for anything and ever. The key part here is to do what? To link it to what you want. And so this is answering your question about can you change your values? You're damn right you can. You have to change them. You have to link it to this to ever get through this hard part right here. Most people can make it to the reprogram part, and what do? They fall right back to the old habits. Okay? And so it's just important for us to understand the only way I shift from old habits to new long-term is what? A new identity. So you went from a guy who quit smoking to a guy that what? Doesn't smoke. That's truly a shift of what? Identity. And so you don't realize that until you start getting disgusted by people that do smoke, right? Or whatever it is, in a situation, right? So it's one of those things that, and I don't mean like the actual people, I meant the smell of it being around it, right? Yep. So, and that's crazy coming from a guy who used to go home and change and smoke and change his clothes and come back, right? But that's an example. Did your values change? Yeah. Damn right they did, right? And so part of how you change your values, you clear on what you want. And know the guy or the woman who you are in that situation doesn't serve you and who you want, so you got to shift new values, which is what I hope you guys do here to be elite. Make sense? So my guy is converting at 30, 40%. I want to be a guy who converts at 80%. I got to figure out what does this guy do that this guy doesn't do. And then I bridge the gap here. I create new patterns, new habits, and those would be things like what Mike's doing, which is studying my ass off at night when I don't feel like it. Why? Because now I feel like I deserve it. My temperature goes up in my thermostat, and now I feel like I deserve the success, which allows me to bring confidence and certainty and close when I get scared. I still close the question anyway. Make sense? That's where that power comes in at. This is when all this shit starts to make sense. So it's much more than how to react at a restaurant. This is how I'd show up when nobody's looking in business and how I become elite. Does that make sense, you guys? And so that's a key part of what that is and how that helps. So hopefully that helps. Questions about that? Nope. Feedback. What's the number one takeaway? Somebody give me some feedback on it. Lucas, where are you taking from that?